Hey guys, it's FanOfFans47 here with another update to my camera collection. Now, it's been a while since I made a video like this, so this is going to be a rather large update, so let's go ahead and get started. So first up, I got this little guy right here. This is a Digital Concepts model 98377. This thing is tiny, and look at that cute little screen. Go ahead and turn it on here, because it does work. There you go, I don't know if you'll be able to see very well. Yeah, sorry, it's not focused, but it is a very low-res image. It's only 0.3 megapixels, and it shoots video at 640 by 480 at a measly 3 frames per second. So yeah, this thing is basically just a toy. But I thought it was kind of, amusing. And next up, we have a couple of HPs. The first of the two is my Photosmart M417. This one is 5.2 megapixels and it records video at 320 by 240 at, I believe, 15 frames per second. And you can see it's got a dead battery, unfortunately. I tried to replace all the batteries before this video, but I guess I kind of skipped over this one. Oh well. But this one kind of has a dodgy lens cover, so, it's whatever. This one also records video at 320 by 240 at, I believe, 20 frames per second, but correct me if I'm wrong. And next up is my Photosmart 215. This thing is huge and it's very old. It's from the year 2000. I believe it's among the oldest in my collection. So yeah, I'll go ahead and turn it on here. You can see the little numeric display shows up there, and then to view the image on the screen, you just hit this little button down here. In a second here, it should pop up. Sometimes you have to do it a couple times. Let's try it again. Doesn't want to work. There it goes. Took a bit. So yeah. This one is, how many megapixels is this? I think it's only like 1.3 or something like that. And it does not record videos. So yeah, this thing is very slow and sluggish because it's so old. And next up we have a few Kodaks, quite a few actually. The first one is the EasyShare M1033. This one I only got for $2 on eBay, which I'd say is an insane deal. And it works great too. There you go. Sorry, it's not focused. There we go. This one is 10 megapixels, and it records video at 640 by 480, no, actually 1280 by 720 HD at 30 frames per second. So yeah, it has a bit of a delayed shutdown. And the second Kodak is actually a bridge camera. It's my very first Pix Pro. It's an AZ252 with 25 times optical zoom. Go ahead and take the lens cap off here so you can see the lens. There you go. So yeah, this is a really nice camera. Go ahead and get that out of the way. This one is 16 megapixels. I believe it's 16 megapixels. Does it say anywhere? Oh yeah, right there. 16 megapixels, and it records video at 1280 by 720 at 30 frames per second with optical stabilization. So yeah. Bear with me, guys. I have so many cameras in my collection now that it's actually really, really hard to memorize the resolutions and stuff, so if I forget, you guys have the right to call me out on it. And here's one that I've been wanting for quite a long time, and I'm very happy to finally have my hands on it. This is a Kodak Z6. Now, when I first got this thing was in horrible condition. It was being sold for parts on eBay. It had like the rubber coating on it. It was all sticky and worn, so I just took some isopropyl rubbing alcohol and just scrubbed the heck out of this thing. And now it looks pretty much pristine and it works great. Go ahead and turn it on here. Nothing to see in the front when it's turning on because it has a fixed lens. And this one records video in 1280 by 720 at 60 frames per second. Although it always defaults to 30 when you turn it on. And the still resolution is... How do I get into the stills? Oh. Gosh, I don't know. I think it might just be 1.6 megapixels, but Yeah, there you go. So yeah, very happy to have this in my collection now. And the last Kodak is my EasyShare C340. I recently did an unboxing video on this, so go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. This one is 5 megapixels and it records video at 640 by 480 at 13 frames per second. Give it a minute here, it will turn on. There it goes. It has trouble reading the card at first. That's why it takes forever to turn on. But yeah, there you go, you can see it's fully working. It's got a bit of a sluggish lens, the batteries are probably low. And next up is this little action camera. It's generic. The model is H4000. Go ahead and turn it on here. The light blinks. It should come on. There we go. This one is 12 megapixels and it records video at 1920 by 1080 at 15 frames per second, which I'd say is a bit lackluster for an action camera. I think it's 12 megapixels. Let me just quickly verify. There we go. Scroll over to the photo. Yeah, 12 megapixels. So yeah, there you go. And I recently put a new battery in this because the battery that came with it was pretty much gone. It just would run out within like the first hour. So yeah, glad to have that sorted out. And next up, this is probably my pinkish, my pinkest digital camera ever. This thing is like a super hot pink, like even more than the S860 that I used to have. This is a Traveler DC9900. This came all the way from Lithuania. And why isn't it turning on? This was literally working just earlier. There it goes. Just had to reinsert the battery compartment. But there you go, you can see it's fully working. This one is 9 megapixels and it records video at 640 by 480 at 24 frames per second. Moving on down to the next row. Only one Nikon today. This is the Coolpix 5200. I picked this up at a local thrift store for 10 bucks. And yeah, it's in good working condition. The battery's kind of low, as you can see. But this one is, I want to say, 5 megapixels? I thought it said on here. Here, let me look in the settings just to be sure. Yeah, 5 megapixels, okay. And it records video at 640 by 480 at 30 frames per second. So yeah, and it shuts off right away. And next up, I actually got this camera from the same store. This is the A1255 by GE, or General Imaging. So yeah, this one is 12.2 megapixels, and it records video at 640 by 480 at 30 frames per second. You can see it's working just fine. You can hear the autofocus motor clicking away. Those of you who have used 3.1 in your life, Windows 3.1, you might be able to recognize that shutdown sound. And next we have a couple of Vivitars. The first of the two is my Vivicam E009. This thing is a piece of crap, actually. It's 18 megapixels, or so-called, I think it's interpolated, and it records video at 1280 by 720 at, I believe it's 15 frames per second. Go ahead and turn it on here. Yeah, this thing is light as a feather. It's like really cheaply made. And it's not even a real flash. This is literally just a light that lights up for like 2 seconds whenever you take a picture. So, very lackluster performance, but it is what it is. And the display is coming out really weird on my camera. I don't know what's up with that. So yeah, there you go. You can see it's got a little light up there too. And the last Vivitar is my Vivicam S124 in this red color. I love red cameras, honestly. Go ahead and turn it on here. I got this one off eBay, listed for parts. But it is in perfect working condition. It was untested when I got it. This one is 16 megapixels, and it records video at 1280 by 720 at 30 frames per second. So yeah. There's that. And next up, I have a Canon, just one today. This is the predecessor to the SX130 IS that I previously showed. This is the PowerShot SX120 IS with 10 times optical zoom. This one is 10 megapixels and it records video at 640 by 480 at 30 frames per second. So yeah, and this does have a manual pop-up flash. You can see when I pop it up, it shows flash auto. And then when I put it back down, it defaults back to off. So that's cool, I guess. And the lens extends out really far on this model. So yeah, there you go. And next up is only one Sony. Got a lot of variety in this video today. This is the Cybershot DSC P10. This one is 5 megapixels and it records videos at 640 by 480 at 16 frames per second. Now listen to how quiet this lens motor is when I turn it on. You practically can't even hear it. That is the quietest lens motor I've ever encountered. But you can see it's got this really tiny screen, and you can see it's working pretty good. This did need a new battery, though, when I got it. The other one just wouldn't charge. So, yeah. Sony, how do you make your lens motor so quiet? Wow. And next up is this Kobe Snap Cam 5005 HD camcorder. It's a gun-style camcorder, as you can see. Go ahead and turn it on here. It does have a touchscreen. Give it a second. There it goes. You can see one design flaw this camera has is that the screen tilts up way too much. So, that's kind of annoying. It records video at 1280 by 720 at 20 frames per second. And the stills are, let me just check, 5 megapixels. So yeah. Makes some nice sounds, too. This one needed a new battery, too, which I just got a couple days ago. I think I actually got it last night. So yeah, this thing finally holds a charge again. And next up is the Konica Digital Revo KD400Z. Now, for those who watched the previous update, you might have seen the Minolta Dimage G500. This is very similar to that. I believe this is just its predecessor, because this one's 4 megapixels instead of 5. And it records video at, I believe it's 320 by 240 at 30 frames per second for, I believe it's only a 15-second limit. It's either 15 or 30 seconds. But regardless, still stingy on the recording time. But yeah, there you go. And I do like the little animation that this light does on startup. So yeah, there you go. And next up is my first ever Bell & Howell, the DC5, another red one. This thing's cool. Except this one's also kind of made like the E009, where it's really light, and this isn't a real flash. But we'll go ahead and turn on nonetheless. There you go, you can see the Bell & Howell. And there you go. This one is 5 megapixels, and it records video at 640 by 480 at 30 frames per second. So yeah, or is it 720p? Now, gosh, I can't remember. How do I get into the video mode? Yeah, it's 640 by 480, that's what I thought. Don't collect this many cameras, guys. You'll end up forgetting all your specs. And next up is my first ever Casio. This is a EXIM S3. This is the wearable card camera, as Casio calls it. This one's 3.2 megapixels, and it records video at 640 by 480 at 30 frames per second. There you go. It's got a pretty decent sized screen for such a small camera, which is nice. And you can see the lens cover is now off. I don't know if you'll be able to see it when I turn the camera back off. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, there's that. This one is, oh, I already mentioned the resolutions. Next up is this little guy right here. This thing's really unique. This is a TalkCam S6 by the iCookieCam company. This one is a Wi-Fi streaming camera. It's wearable. So this hooks up to your phone and you can stream the video from there to your phone. I'm not going to bother turning this thing on because unless it's actually connected to something, it's not really going to show any sign of life. Because this is literally just a camera lens. But It's kind of cool, I guess. It takes decent quality video. It can go up to 1920 by 1080 interpolation at, I believe it's 10 frames per second. So, yeah. And it does do stills too, also at 1920 by 1080, because it's literally just grabbing screenshots from the video. Next up, I guess you can consider this another update to Project Nunez. This is a Cisco, no, not Cisco, this is a Pure Digital Flip Ultra model U1120W. It's the white model. Go ahead and turn it on here. I did have one of these as a kid. It was my first ever camcorder, except mine was the black version, which I wish this was, but, you know, it's whatever. This one does not take pictures, and it records video at 640 by 480 at 30 frames per second. So, yeah. Didn't want to turn off for a second there. The only thing that this is missing is the ring around the recording button, but it's not a huge deal. It doesn't affect functionality at all. 2 more left. Second to last is this Vomotal, even though it doesn't say it on it, but it is a Vomotal TDV1302. It is a 2.7K digital camcorder. You can see. Up to 42 megapixel interpolation. There you go. You can see it's in perfect working condition. Although you notice the drop frames, that's kind of annoying. There's the buttons on the side. And it does come with a lens cap, as you can see. Go ahead and put that back on. No, that's not infrared night vision, that's just a fill light. This isn't like the other generic camcorder that I revealed in, I believe it was 2 updates ago. This has the overall same design, but just different functionality. And finally, last but not least, is the Olympus Stylus 600. This is 6 megapixels and it records video at 640 by 480 at 15 frames per second. Go ahead and turn it on here. I'll go ahead and show you the lens cap opening up. I always thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, there you go. This one's in perfect working condition. I got this one at my local thrift store, by the way, for $5. So yeah. And so yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this camera collection update. And I really do apologize for fumbling on so many of the specs of these cameras, but you know, there comes a point where you collect so many cameras that you just end up forgetting everything. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and that'll be it.